would be probably the last person I would like to see leave.
I don't rate him. I don't see the big fuss over
Mr. Invisible.
I hate him. I've got such a spite against that man.
Because if he can score 20 plus goals in a league, that league is not very good.
So we're going to move on now to the midfield with Jack Grealish. Remember with Stoke, Everton and Spurs in the papers over recent days. I can't see him leaving. He's a boyhood Villa fan. He's got a lot to prove still.
First off, I hope he doesn't leave. But the problem is he's one of the only people in that squad that is sellable, that people are going to pay money for, and we're going to have to get some money from somewhere. I mean, he would be probably the last person I would like to see leave. He'd be top of my list to stay. He'd be the person I'd build the team around, because he's a good player and he's got quite a mixed reception on social media. But I don't know why. I mean, people expect him to get the ball and beat 5 men and knock it in the top corner every time he gets the ball. It isn't going to happen. I mean, you looked at when he was playing with good players, Benteke, Cleverley, Delph, and he looked like a world beater himself. But putting him in that team that we had last season, it was always going to be difficult for him, because you get the ball and what have you got in front of you? Gusted standing still. So there's no one to create for Grealish. I hope he stays, and I think he probably will stay, because he is a Villa fan. He's like me and you. He loves the club. But my only worry with him would be his agent, because I think his agent may be the reason why he chose to play for England, and he has got that same agent as Gareth Bale. And let's face it, agents are interested in money, and if he gets a move, it's gonna make him money. So that would be my big concern with Grealish.
I just can't imagine him leaving this summer. He's got so much to prove. And as a Villa fan, surely he'd want to try and get the club back up. So I do really hope he does stick around. Next up is Carlos Heel. Well, I don't rate him. I don't see the big fuss over Carlos Heel. He's no wizard with the ball. He's absolutely awful. I feel in the Championship he'll get shoved left, right and centre. And before you know it, he'll be back in the advertising hoardings because he's been hit into them by some big bloke. I just can't see him being in the Championship. I can't see it at all.
I don't think you can play him and Grealish in the same team in the Championship. I don't think that would happen. But I think he'd be a good option to keep, because I think he is a talented lad. He seems quite happy at the club. He seems to quite like it at Villa. I mean, he's not always been treated great. I mean, Tim Sherwood bombed him out. There's been spells where he's come in and he scored some good goals. He knows where the goal is compared to a lot of our team. He'd be one I probably would keep, but I understand why fans have reservations against him, because he is a little lightweight, and tracking back, he isn't always the most reliable.
And that's much like the next man, Scott Sinclair.
Mr. Invisible towards the end of the season. I mean, I wrote about him in the Birmingham Mail, saying he's got the confidence of someone that's not going out with Helen Flanagan. You wouldn't know he was going out with Helen Flanagan. I'd be straight around the pitch like I was the big dog if I was Scott Sinclair, but he doesn't do that. You don't even notice he's there half the time. But on the other hand, he's got good Championship experience and pedigree, because he did well at Swansea, and I think he scored over 20 goals when Swansea got promoted. So he's shown that he can do it at that level. Again, he'd probably be one that I'd take a chance on keeping, and at the end of the day, I don't see anyone coming in for him and taking him off our hands. So I'd probably gamble at keeping him around the 18, to be honest, because he has shown he can do it in the Championship.
I would actually like to see him stay. I think he could do us a job next season. I think that he has still got it in some degree. I think he's still got it. I think he's got a lot to prove, as I say. I know we're saying that with all these players, but he has got a lot to prove. During his time at Swansea, he's scored 36 goals in 91 games, which is a ridiculously impressive record, I think.
Especially for left winger.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot for him to prove, and I think he can still cut it. I know he said he wanted to play up front more, but I'd still shove him out on the wing. I'd still shove him out on the left wing. Him and Grealish either side, Gusted down the middle, and Bob's your uncle. I think we've got a decent chance with that. So going forwards on from that, you've got Gary Gardner, who I rate so highly. I just want him to do well.
Again, like a Cora, we've just never really seen what he can do for Villa, because he's never had a sustained run in the team, because he's always injured. Whenever he steps foot into Bodymoor Heath or Villa Park, he seems to get injured, but then he'll go on loan to Brighton or Forest, and he'll play a run of games. He just seems to be cursed whenever he enters Birmingham. he's got to be around the squad next season because he's shown he can play in the Championship. Perhaps it was a different role to what he was used to, but he's shown as a deep line midfielder that he can be a good player. And quite frankly, anyone that can have a shot on target is welcome at Villa because we've been awful all season, and he has shown that he can score goals.
He played 20 games last season in the Championship. First half of the season, he was still injured when he was with Villa. He went on loan in January to Forest, and he was Forest's best player. I've spoken to a few Forest fans, been in Nottingham myself.
Yeah, they like him.
And they love him. They love Gary Gardner. And he said Craig. He scored
no
twice.
One loves Craig.
And I think that he could be a star man for us next season.
Like you said, we definitely don't want him being given to someone else in the Championship because it will improve that team and it probably will weaken us at that level.
Another one that I've sort of forgotten about a bit because he did tail off as soon as Remy Gard left, and that's Jordan Verity.
When he came in, I was quite excited about him. I remember his first home game against Man U, and it wasn't the world's best performance, but I thought he was quite neat and tidy, and he did some good things, and I was quite excited about him. But then it never really happened for him, and I think he had living difficulties when he first joined the club and didn't settle in properly. Like a lot of the players, we're going to have to make some money from somewhere. So selling someone like him when we've probably got Gary Gardner, more Championship suited to play instead of him, it wouldn't surprise me to see him go. But probably I'm torn either way. I don't think I'm too fussed with Verity, which probably says to you what it needs to say.
Then Jordan Lydon, big future ahead of him. Bit part player next season, or would you play him at right back?
I don't think you play him at right back. He's not a right back. He looks like a box to box, good engine in midfield. I mean, we only really saw glimpses of him, and I've watched a couple of under-21 games where I thought he looked quite tidy. But the Championship's unforgiving. I don't know. Can you imagine Gardner and Lydon as our central midfield in the first game? Would you be happy with that?
No, I think we would be torn apart, in fact. But then, I don't know. I underestimate Gary Gardner. He's got a lot of games under his belt now in the Championship, so maybe he could be moulded into our leader, maybe. Maybe we could look at Gary Gardner as captain.
We definitely need a new captain because I'm not happy seeing Richards and Lescott lead out the team again. If that happens, I mean, to be honest, I thought last season Clark probably should have been captain when he was playing, or Westwood. But Lydon's done a good leadership. Talking about leadership and captaincy, Lydon's obviously been the captain of the under-21, so he was kind of a poster boy for that team. He does seem to have a good attitude. Everything you hear from him, his attitude does seem spot on. I mean, he'd probably be one I'd have around the 18, and it is a long season, so he probably would get his fair share of games in midfield. He definitely shouldn't be moved on, Lydon.
Next one is Idrissa Gana Gueye. I'd keep hold of him, but I'm going to stop it very shortly because I think everybody knows what player he is capable of being. I just think he's going to stay. He's not going to stay at all. There's no way he's going to stay.
He's gone.
West Ham, Everton, that sort of size club, he'll be going to 100%. We're going to move straight on from him because I can just tell now he's not going to stick around. Carlos Sanchez is an interesting one for me. He's disappeared second half of the season through injury. And I think it's just the case with this one is that, again, I don't think he's quite good enough. Although I think as a Championship player, he could be quite good.
So I think a slower tempo game, Sanchez is a very good player. When you ask him to just, in a midfield three, sit in front of the back four, he's very good at that. But as soon as you ask him to do anything else, he can't do it. I mean, some of the stuff he does on the ball is just bizarre. You'll be having a good game. You'll be thinking, he's quite good, this Sanchez, actually. He's all right. And then he'll just make the most ridiculous pass that you've ever seen, or try and take someone on the edge of his own penalty area. He's a kamikaze player. I don't think he should be there next season. Again, someone from Spain or his home country, someone will come in for him.
Next one is Ashley Westwood. One that I love Ashley Westwood. Like, if somebody offends Ashley Westwood, I defend straight away. I defend him straight away. As many fans will not give him the same sort of defence. A lot of fans hate him. And I can sort of see why, but I think that, I know it's an outlandish statement to say, but the things that Ashley Westwood does well is basic stuff. But you need that player that can break it down like him and do the basics, and he can do the basics, not much more, but I think he could do a lot more. And the Championship, to me, is very much suited to Ashley Westwood.
See, for me, he's one of my favourites because, like you say, he does just the simple stuff well, and you do need a player like that who can keep the ball moving. I think sometimes a lot of the work he does, it does go unnoticed. People don't see what he brings to the team, and then when he doesn't play, I certainly noticed that he's not there. I mean, he's not very popular in the upper hole where I sit. Me and my dad are the only two that like him, but we keep quiet about that because we don't want to get shouted down. He'd be the first name one of the first names on the team sheet for me, but I just wouldn't ever let him take corners.
Adama Traore. I don't know. I can't see him sticking around.
No, Norma.
I can't see it. I hate to say it, but I think his wages are too much, and somebody will come in for him because, as a player, I think he's superb for how young he is. He's quite a raw talent. Don't get me wrong, he's a raw talent, but to me, I think that's what makes him so special.
He's an impact sub for me because I don't think he's got the know-how to play 90 minutes.
Luxury player.
Yeah, and I think if you played him right mid, the right back would be gutted because you're not going to get any help for 90 minutes. And in the Championship, I mean, at any level, you need help for tracking back from your midfield players. He is a luxury player. I mean, he's very, very talented. I mean, you look at his assist for Carlos Hill's goal against Sunderland. I mean, that was an unbelievable goal, and a lot of that work came from Traore down the right. He's a beast, and he's very, very quick, but I just worry about his football brain, and I don't see that he will be here next season either, so I've kind of written him off.
I'll tell you who I've written off. Gabby Abonglahor. I hate him. I've got such a spite against that man, and what he has done, or what he hasn't done, for a matter of fact, I can't wait to see the back of him, and I will literally drive him anywhere. The man has shown no heart, no desire, no nothing for the past 6 years now. I haven't seen a player in him for so long now that I've given up hope, and I just rule him out. As soon as he come on the team sheet, I'm like, yeah, we're down to 10 men already. Like, I was even tweeting back when he started a few games back against Norwich when he actually scored. I was tweeting, I can't believe I'm travelling a few hours to go and watch Gabby Abonglahor start and do nothing for 90 minutes. And that's what we saw apart from his goal. And I've seen nothing to suggest he's apologetic. I've seen nothing to suggest he's the player he's ever been. I've seen nothing to suggest he should be sticking around because he doesn't care. He just cares about his money and girls and seeing a few girls in the hotel room. That's all he cares about in his life.
I think you're going to be very upset because I think he's going to... I can't see him going. I think he'll be...
That's me.
And I think that Di Matteo will think I can get something out of Abonglahor. I really think that. I mean, he has been a disgrace. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending his actions at all because he's been coasting for 2-3 seasons now. I mean, I think in Lambert's first season, yeah, he did actually have a decent season, and I think he got into double figures and was playing on the left midfield with Benteke and Weimann up there with him. And I think he did have a decent season then, but since then, he has been somewhat non-existent. I mean, you see more about him on the front pages than you do the back, but I just can't bring myself to hate him. I don't know what it is. I think it must be that just he's scored a lot of important goals for Villa, and I think I remember him with fondness from the O'Neill days, so I just can't bring myself to hate him. But I agree, it's probably time for him to go, but I think Di Matteo will keep him and think he can get the best out of him. That's just what I think.
I'm not buying that. He's a fraud. Jordan Ayew, there's been no talk of him leaving, really. But really, can you see him staying? I think he's a top 10 player in the Premier League. I think he's good enough for the top 10, certainly. I think he knew by the end he was on a one-man mission to do anything decent. He scored 7 goals, and they were all really good goals.
He's a good player. He was the only one who really came out the season with any credit for me. Well, maybe Amavi obviously got injured. Ayew was the only one that came out with credit, and if we'd have had managed to have a Player of the Season award and it not got cancelled for the second year, really, I think he would have walked away with it quite comfortably. There was no contenders. He's a good player, but he's probably too good for us in the Championship. And like Garner, I've probably
given up hope,
written him off because someone's gonna come in and have him. I hope he stays because the other thing is, other than being talented, his work rate and his attitude's right, and sometimes he really set the tone from the front, and I think that's something that you sometimes need. But someone will come in and take him, definitely.
So, Rudy Gestede, you said yourself you've had more movement in the bathroom than this man. I have more movement walking to my bed, and as anyone can see, my desk is here, my bed is literally just there, like literally a few seconds, even like a second away, and I've had more movement getting into bed. So, can you see him being any better in the Championship? He's very prolific when in the Championship.
Knowing how well he did in the Championship gives me hope that we may come up automatically, because if he can score 20 plus goals in a league, that league is not very good, because he was one of the worst players I've ever seen up top for Villa, just by virtue of his lack of movement. I mean, we didn't give him any service in his defence. I mean, when Samovic got injured, there was no one left on the pitch that could put a decent cross in. And unless you're going to put crosses in, there is literally no point playing him because he isn't going to offer you anything else. His hold-up play isn't great for someone of that size. You'd probably keep him just because you know he's capable of that 20-plus because he's done it. But if I was to go just on last season's performances, he'd be one of the first out the door because he never struck me as being good enough. I think he was a plan B that unfortunately became the plan A because we didn't sign Adebayor. I mean, I'm sure that would have been a disaster as well if we'd have signed Adebayor. But Gusted was forced to become the plan A, and it didn't work. He was not good enough. Whether he's good enough for the Championship, I guess we'll probably find out because he will be sticking around, I would have thought.
I think as a Championship player, I'm holding on to that glimpse of hope that with those 20 goals for Blackburn in 39 games and 13 the season before, I think we've got a real hope that he can be good for us and he can fire us back into the Premier League. So we're rounding up with two last players. Libor Kozak, I'm just going to say now, sell him. I can't see him sticking around. He was nearly gone in January.
No one's going to buy him because he's, again, like we've said, I feel like I've said this about nearly every player now, he's just always injured. He's never fit. He only has to look at football and he's injured. So I can't see anyone taking the risk on taking him. I mean, I think he always looks reasonably dangerous when he plays. You always feel like, despite not being the best player in the world, that he might stick the ball in the back of the net because he does take up good positions. But you're not going to play him and Gusted. But Kozak could be one that stays, I think. But his injury record's awful.
Finally, Russian Hepburn Murphy. I haven't seen much from him, I'll be honest. A raw talent again. He's obviously going to stay, so just bring him on as an impact player, maybe the last 10 minutes of games. He's
got to be in and around the first team, just by the fact he knows where the goal is. I mean, like you say, he's very, very raw. I mean, I remember him coming on against Sunderland for his debut, and he looked absolutely petrified, and he looked about 12 years old.
Well, he was only 16 at the time. Gives him a bit of a chance.
It's probably not a good mix, is it? But he's obviously got a future, and he's very highly rated by the coaching staff. I know that, so he'll be around the first team next season. But like I said in yesterday's video cast, it's just a wasted opportunity not giving these guys more of a chance in the build-up to the new season because we were relegated, nothing to lose. Why were we playing Scott Sinclair, the Invisible Man, when there was a chance to play Hepburn Murphy? It makes no sense. We should have blooded him. He might have scored a goal or two, and he'd be ready, fired up for the new season.
With Hepburn Murphy, there's a big player there still, obviously. So we'll see with him maybe. But I think the main thing we can take from the whole of this is that we need a new fitness coach.
Yes. And
so let's look at the fitness team. Yeah, they can go. We'll get rid of the fitness team. We'll start fresh with them as well. So thanks, Stan, for joining me today to go through the ins and outs of this team. I hope it hasn't been too painful for you.
I found it quite therapeutic, to be honest. I feel like I've got quite a lot off my chest, so I'll probably sleep quite well tonight. But yeah, pleasure.
We've chewed the fat on goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and attackers. If you missed part one where we looked at the goalkeepers and defenders, that link will be below. Remember to drop us a like on here. Also drop us a comment. Also remember to subscribe to us. It is free to do that. And head over to our Facebook, The Villa View, and follow us on Twitter, The Villa View _. That's all for The Villa View this week. Remember to catch us next time with our discussion show. I think it's a fantastic appointment, but some of you guys don't seem to think so on Twitter. This man's got a 50% win ratio. Anything above 40% I think is the target to be looking at.